Hello viewers, and welcome to Exploring Cinema with Brian Meadows. I, of course, am Brian. Today's review is on the newest film from the independent film company A24. It's called It Comes at Night. This was one of my most anticipated movies of 2017 because I love A24. They've given some of the greatest films in recent years, films like A Most Violent Year, Ex Machina, one of my favorite films of 2015, and Swiss Army Man, which I honestly think is a very underrated film, in my opinion. I saw the film, I saw It Comes at Night a bit late, so I was even more excited when I finally got to see it, especially because critic reviews were going off the charts for a while. And, well, when I went to it, I was confused, but I'll get back to that a little bit later. Secure within a desolate home as an unnatural threat terrorizes the world, the tenuous order that a man named Paul has established with his wife Sarah and his son Travis is put to the ultimate test with the arrival of a desperate family seeking refuge. Despite the best intentions of both families, paranoia and mistrust boil over as the horrors from the outside creep ever closer, awakening something hidden and monstrous within the man as he learns that the protection of his family comes at the cost of his very soul. I'm going to stray away from my normal setup for my reviews because my reaction to this film is a bit different, or actually it's quite different from the other ones that I've done up to this point. Every performance in this film is great. Joel Edgerton leads a tremendous cast of extremely grounded and believably realistic performances, each person acting how I feel everyday people would conduct themselves and react to what was happening in the world, whatever that thing is. The cinematography in this film is absolutely breathtaking, and it helps to create that terrifying atmosphere that we've seen in the trailers, and it occurs throughout the entire film. I know, you guys know that I don't really, horror's not my favorite genre, but I'm starting to get slowly into it, and one of my, it's the fear, that it instills in me whenever I watch it, you know, just the fear of stuff happening in there. And I felt that throughout the film, which I gotta give them props for. They did a really good job with, in making that kind of atmosphere. So, I went into this film thinking I was going to see, I was going to get some kind of, a house horror film. You know, those ones where something is in the house, and maybe the families in it are trying to figure out what is in there. And why did I think this? Because the trailers made me believe that's exactly what we were getting, a house horror with some kind of twist to the subgenre of horror. Now, I will try not to spoil anything in this film, but there are a few complaints that I need to address that if I don't, I can't really give you a true review. This is not the movie that was advertised in trailers and TV spots. And hey, sometimes that's a good thing, but where that falls apart is the execution. There is little to no exposition in this film, with the characters taking their time to explain things in a natural way. And you guys know that I love whenever there's very little exposition in a film. But while I loved seeing it, and that it could be done this way, excuse me, in film, it also gave me a newfound appreciation for exposition. Okay, here's an example. Books don't need, too much explanation because they can be however long the writer wants, or the story can just be spread out over a series. So there's really not too much need for exposition. They still do it for the most part, but a book doesn't need to. Things can be explained in a much slower way, and even just through the imagery instead of the dialogue. But a film is anywhere from just under 2 hours to even around 3 hours long. They don't have time to explain things naturally, even through imagery, so exposition through dialogue is actually needed to a point. The problem is just when too much exposition is used, and I think back to the Star Wars prequels as examples. There is no explanation for hardly anything in this film. They don't even tell us why the world is in some kind of apocalyptic event. Everything you truly have to find out on your own, and While that's not necessarily a bad thing, it is the norm for films to give at least a couple of answers, or even give subtle hints to where even the viewers can come up with their own theories as to what's going on in the film, and it actually makes the film more compelling, and it can actually cause you to become more attached to the film. But the filmmakers, specifically I still can't speak today. The filmmakers, specifically the director, has actually said in interviews that he actually made it a point to not give any answers at all. Things like what is the it that the title is actually referencing to, or if there is actually an it. It Comes at Night gives even more questions that are just as or even more thought-provoking, but no resolution is given for any of it. However, I understand if you love or hate the film, because I'm right in the middle. I have a love-hate relationship with this film. I love it for the extremely strong acting, the atmosphere, and the beautifully shot cinematography. But I hate it at the same time because of the lack of resolution, and a few of the jarring storytelling choices. I left the film very confused and rather disappointed. It Comes at Night really has some great plot points, but little to none of them are addressed, even in the slightest. I would do a recap, but I just can't. Everything that I would put in the recap, I just told you a couple of minutes ago. And I can't even give this film a rating. I'm sorry, I don't know if I hate it more or love it more. And believe me, I actually wanted to come up with a rating for this film. I've noticed that a lot of other critics on YouTube, especially the ones that I enjoy watching, can't even give it a rating because they are just as torn. I really tried for you guys, but I just can't. I'm sorry. But sadly, because there is no other way, I must end this review just as It Comes at Night did, without resolution. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me ramble on and on. Now, I must ask you, what did you guys think of It Comes at Night? Did you love it, hate it, were you indifferent on it, you haven't seen it yet? What were its strengths? What were its weaknesses? I want to know your thoughts. I welcome new perspectives. Be sure to subscribe if you have not already for more reviews and content. There is always more to come. And for other ways to support the channel, please check in the description down below. Thank you guys once again for watching, and farewell until the next video. Bye.